Hi everyone, it's Travis, the Pagan Scholar. I'm back from a short sabbatical. I needed some time to myself, and my birthday, actually it wasn't my birthday, but the days leading up to my birthday really kicked me in the ass, and I just kind of needed a minute away from everything. But 28 came and went, and it's really not that big of a deal. So I am actually going to be doing a tarot tag video. When I was kind of going through my burnout, there was so many awesome tags happening, and I was just not on camera. This is the I Believe in Tarot tag. I discovered this through Katy Flowers, and the progenitor of the tag is Tom Benjamin. Anyways, I will link both of their videos in the description below. I really appreciate this tag because it's kind of just open talking about our beliefs in tarot. And so the very first thing that I want to say is I believe in tarot. So this is a statement. This is a claim. It's not a truth claim, but it's a claim. And in my academic background and my upbringing, statements like that are evidence. They're proof of something to be used either against you or something to be defended, something to be examined and picked apart and unpacked. So that in and of itself is my very first foray into this tag. I really got into tarot by being an apologist for it. Like Katy Flowers said in her video, for the longest time she would sort of try to defend tarot or describe tarot as if she were describing it to an atheist so they would take her seriously. That's kind of why I started this entire channel, because I wanted to be like this pagan apologist and be like, look, we're not crazy. It's okay, we're crazy. Everyone's crazy if they believe in religion. However, getting back to the main point, I had to sort of relearn tarot recently because I realized that whenever I was reading tarot for myself, I would just look at the cards and I wouldn't say anything, and I would just immediately have all of the connections in my head. And that wasn't helping me at all. I wanted to relearn tarot from the textbook version so I could start to address it with my beliefs, so I could start to figure out what I agreed with and what I didn't agree with. So, going back to how I used to read, I would look at something and I wouldn't really vocalize it. I would just immediately see the connection in my head. Or I would feel apprehensive about something, or I would not like a card, but I would never explore or unpack that. Now, I've started really doing that because my experience is whenever I draw a card, it's not divinely inspired, but if I have a reaction to it, if I don't like it, if the Five of Cups is on the table and I'm like, let's talk about that later, then that's an immediate red flag for myself to unpack those ideas. In fact, it means I need to pay attention to that card. It means I need to focus on that. And so it's sort of how it's that gut reaction, that knee-jerk reaction away from certain things is my psychology telling me, wait a minute, maybe we should slow down and dig into some shadow work or something like that. So also, I believe in tarot the same way that I believe in poetry. For some people, I mean, like externally, not even me, but externally, some people get poetry. They understand that like this is something that should be appreciated. It's something that explores and opens up and gently helps you surrender your emotions to a moment, and you can unpack them in a poem, and it's beautiful and it's marvelous and it's good. And for some people, they don't care for poetry and they lead bleak, sad lives. But what I'm saying is poetry is subjective. It's a subjective experience, and that's how I believe in tarot. Tarot is a subjective experience. It's like art. So, two things I want to touch on. No art is created in a vacuum, and all art is a reaction to something. I mean, that's not even two things, that's just one thing. So, no art is created in a vacuum. No tarot card reading is created in a vacuum because we are people, we are meaning makers, and we interpret things. So, I really am driven alongside my poetry with narrative and hermeneutics. And I really love digging into understanding the narrative that is going on in our lives and how we understand the world around us And in our interpreting the world around us, that is our personal narrative. That's the paradigm that we've got going on up here. So when we're interpreting tarot cards or poetry or art, none of that happens in a vacuum. Every single reaction to a piece of art has a million different calculations behind your reaction. There has to be a communally understood system of metaphors for us to engage in. Otherwise, it's just kind of it's just ink. It's not really anything. But the fact that we can all look at the Three of Cups and we communally recognize that to be a good thing. Usually because the card depicts people joyously, like having a drink and having a party, like we all communally understand those metaphors. And so when we see that, because of previously recognized ideas, the things that have built up our paradigm and built up our prejudices is a different thing in philosophy, but our prejudice, all of those things, they culminate and instantly we understand, oh, this is a good thing, this is a positive thing. But if we were a part of a different community, say the Christian community, or no, we're not going to talk about that. Anyways, if we were a part of any other community that did not recognize three people dancing as a good thing, then that tarot card reading would not work for that community. So there has to be a communally understood, sympathetic relationship between symbols and metaphors in a reading. This is all getting really heady. Let me look at my notes to see if I've forgotten something. I know I have. Surprisingly enough, I actually hit on most of the talking points that I wanted to say, and there have been, I think, minimal cuts. But, so there was some things that Katy and Benjamin talked about. So one of them is the belief that as humans, we recognize symbols, or we see something and we create symbols around it. And I'm not opposed to that idea. I do think, though, that harkens back to my proposal that we have to have a communally understood system of symbols and meaning. Because we are meaning makers, just because I see, I don't know, because I see this pin, my subjective experience is different from your subjective experience about pins. So, however, even though we have differences, there is still a communally understood, like, symbolic baggage behind the pin. The pin is mightier than the sword. As a community, as a culture, we have that to kind of harken back to. So that's one commonly recognized and understood symbol that we have adopted. So whether or not meaning was there to begin with, and it wasn't because I'm an existentialist, doesn't matter because we have adopted that to have meaning and to belong to an avenue of interpretation. The other is I really appreciated the fact that we can have evolving beliefs. That is why I love tarot, because tarot is an evolution of narrative. It has to be done in a reactionary sort of way, and we have to ask ourselves questions like, why am I reacting to this? Or why am I even asking this question? And why am I feeling this way in regard to these cards? The fact that our beliefs can evolve is indicative of it being a narrative system. We have to feel differently, otherwise the narrative stagnates and we're not actually doing anything. We're just going through motions. We're just reciting, predefined scripts. The fact that we usually say throw away the little white book and to work with a personal gnosis is really interesting, and it's neat because we're forced to engage with other beliefs, and other beliefs help us grow and evolve our beliefs. So, big secret, I used to be an elitist fuck, and I used to be really pretentious and look down my nose at a lot of people, and I'm on a constant journey to get over myself and to force myself to not roll my eyes. It happens a lot, and I have since I've exposed myself to a lot of people that normally I wouldn't have in the past, I have learned, yes, humility, but we're not going to talk about that because that's Christian ethics, but my beliefs have grown and evolved in ways that they never would have had I not exposed myself to alternative interpretations. And I'm really appreciative of that because I'm a better person for it. I used to be a shithead, and tarot, yes, but we're branching out into other territory, has like exposing myself to a community instead of keeping myself isolated has helped me grow my narrative, has helped me grow my symbolism, and made me question my commonly understood interpretations of tarot, but also of just how I navigate and engage in the world. So tarot as a narrative system, as a not deific or divinatory system, but as a tool that forces us to examine and appreciate our subjective experience, much like poetry or any other form of art. I think that that's the best thing about tarot, how we get to sort of continue to grow and evolve in our beliefs. So hashtag I believe in tarot, because right now I do believe in tarot, but as our beliefs evolve, I think I'll continue to believe in tarot, but, you know, to say anything is certain is folly. So thank you for watching this rambly, weird video, and as always, merry meet, merry part, and merry meet again.